Studio A in Texas, USA. Welcome to In Wheel Time, the award-winning all things automotive car talk show. On today's 2-hour program, summer car things to do, from car events to car racing. We're going to talk to the locals because we know them, but also give you ideas where to look in your neck of the woods for car events going on. Inside our new car showroom is the all-electric Chevy Bolt and the all-new 2021 Kia Seltos. We'll give you an in-depth review of each of those. We've got this week's automotive news and our weekly Ram Tracks and Jeep Trails features. All that and more just ahead on today's two minutes in one 2-hour In Wheel Time car show for Saturday, June 20th, 2020. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars down there. And the team colors are showing through over here because next to him is Mr. King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us today. Gentlemen, a pleasant Saturday morning to you. Did you just put rabbit ears behind his head? You did,
No. I reached over here. I was going like great minds think alike. You didn't get the memo about the shirts.
I don't actually have a white shirt. I think I used it to polish the car one day and kind of ruined it.
It's kind of discolored a little bit.
Well, yeah, it is.
But anything's worth cleaning your Corvette, right?
Sure.
So, and the Corvette's sitting out there at the moment.
I know. It's got a little clutch problem that I'm dealing with.
Feeling a little bit of pain.
Yeah, and Jeff and I actually worked an hour and a half yesterday morning on the clutch. I bought a thing from Lingenfelter Performance, and it was an additional clutch return spring because apparently C5s and C6 Corvettes are known for putting the clutch in and it not coming back off the floor.
Yes.
So I thought, well, I'll give that a shot. So $100 later, I get this beautiful little package thing in the mail, and Jeff and I spent an hour and a half destroying the bottom half of the dash to get this spring attached with a clip underneath. We got it all in. Took it for a test drive, and yep, that clutch pedal comes right off of the floor. The problem is the clutch
doesn't go down far enough to disengage
No, that's not the issue, but it does not disengage the clutch. There's something else going on with the clutch, and we're going to get to that. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Troy Dixon, who's standing by.
Going to join us here.
Yeah, he's going to join us here in just a minute, and he's got me a couple of places lined up that is going to help me, I hope. Get this clutch issue settled. And then maybe, just maybe, while it's in the shop, I'm going to get the air conditioning fixed. And I say that with a question mark because I have a feeling that it's going to take
the control head.
It's going to be something going on in the dashboard or the control, whatever it is.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, but
because those control heads can be quite expensive, and then it takes some programming.
Listen, here's what I found out about the Corvette. Everything is expensive, so there is that.
Well, you haven't had to put tires on it yet, have you?
No.
Oh, wait till you think that everything else is expensive. Wait till you put tires on that thing.
Can we stop now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Thank you.
But we could talk to somebody who knows a lot of things about Corvettes.
Yes, we can. And matter of fact, we are, because on our Zoom feed today, we have with us to start the whole thing about things to do is Mr. Troy Dixon with Houston Performance Driving. Troy, it's always good to see you, and thanks for joining us. Oh, I guess I need to turn him on.
Probably might want to turn his mic on.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, now I got your microphone on. Now we can hear you. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
So for those people that don't know, why don't we start off and explain to everybody what Houston Performance Driving is?
Sure, absolutely. Houston Performance Driving, we call it HPD for short, not to be confused with the thin blue line there. We started out in 2002 as a small group, kind of like almost like a fraternity group. It wasn't necessarily a car club.
I don't think the fraternity aspect of it has gone away.
No. It's only gotten bigger, which is great. And so back then, though, back almost 18 years ago, it was mainly a bunch of guys that did have Corvettes, and it was outside looking in, it was conceived as a Corvette conglomerate. But that was just because everybody kind of had the same taste in that small core.
What was
And
popular then?
It was. And that group was very, very active. So that group, we met every Tuesday night for what we call Tuesday night dinner. And so not only did you do things out in the field with the vehicles, you also got to know people socially over dinner, which is, can really be a glue for what we were doing. And so we were also doing a lot of drag nights, drag days at the local tracks. We were also doing a lot of HPDEs. We were doing night meets, dyno days, photo shoots.
Did you do any road racing?
Yes, I particularly, that's actually my favorite thing to do. So I was road racing with North America Road Racing Association for about 3 years. And I was first doing it in a 2004 E46 BMW M3. And then I bought my second Z06, a C6 Z06. And kind of just made the leap over into the bigger engine car and enjoyed that. So I was racing, doing like time trials and things like that with old Viper days. So I was racing against the Vipers and the Porsches in the Z06.
So is it mainly guys? Do you have some gals in there too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We do. We actually had a good core of girls, females, drivers. And, a lot of them, even the married couples and things like that, they both have their own car and they participate. So it's a very good co-ed group. So we're very happy about that. And the girls that roll in HPD are very knowledgeable, very aggressive. We've had some females now that have actually gone on to like our good friend Stephanie Simo, who was in our core group, left to go to California, was racing ZR1s, racing Ferrari, Lamborghini.
Wow. We've had Stephanie on the show a couple of times.
Oh,
and,
very good.
And I think
we miss her.
She was kind of playing in the Trans Am arena for a period of time as well.
Yeah. I keep up with her. Her birthday was just, a couple of weeks ago too. So we always definitely catch up during that time. But we do have a lot of really nice ladies, that participate. And we're very grateful for them.
So, Troy, I've got to ask you, I know all car clubs have meets per se, and meets can mean many things. And I know back in the day there were those meetings that were about as boring as the day is long, because we all want to enjoy our times together in the car, either going on road trips or going to the drag strip or going to a road course somewhere, being involved with the car. And I think that's kind of what you guys are really up to, isn't it?
Yeah, we do. We have a high tempo of events. Obviously, it's kind of been a little bit hit and miss with the COVID situation. But we, like our Corvette group now, has HPD progressed. It became a lot of different things. It became Camaro, Viper, Supra, Porsche, BMW, and it got into the upper echelon chassis. But that core group would travel to Bowling Green, for example, and
Z06 Fest, right?
How fun, yeah. That's the fun part, because not only do you all get to caravan all the way up to Bowling Green or to San Antonio or to Austin or wherever it is, but you also get to actually have dinner together, have fun together.
Exactly.
It's like
it brings a good camaraderie.
Become friends. Yeah.
Because when you're traveling together, you get to know people better. It's just like sitting over a table of food or something. If somebody needs help, you're there to help, guide, and then you have that fun together. And that's a glue that brings those folks together. And those relationships are still strong to this day.
And then when you got somebody like me riding along in that caravan and has a clutch problem, you've got somebody else to lean on and say, where can we go within a couple of miles of where we are out here in the middle of nowhere to get this clutch fixed?
Exactly. So that's what's good. You have all those collective minds to come up with a solution for that problem.
Well, and there was a point in time where early in HPD where you guys would kind of go over to somebody's shop or somebody's house as well. And because I remember you guys going over to Randy's and you lowered everybody's car.
Right. Yeah, we would do situations like that where so the Tuesday night dinners, were obviously a hit, but we'd also have like little smaller meets for people that were wanting to do little tweaks, changing out wheels, tires. But there was a lot of times too when the the C5s and the C6s came out, you could lower those vehicles on what they call the stock bolts. And we would go over there, and Randy had done it. Randy Broughton had done that several times on several of his cars. So everybody's like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so we'd go over there in like 10, 15, 20 Corvettes, and, and we would just sit there and do it until wee hours of the night until everybody got their car lowered.
How fun. Well, but that's what it's all about. So when is the next event? Whatever it is, when's the next event for HPD?
The next event, we just had our last Twin Peaks meet on June 14th. Which was a super success, and it was great because I think everybody was chomping at the bit to get to do something. But our next one is going to be July 26th at the Woodlands Twin Peaks. So that's our end of the month meet we've been hosting for actually 6 years now.
Oh, and you're a little shy about mentioning the June 14th meet. That was Troy's 43rd birthday.
Yes, sir. It was my 43rd birthday. Yeah, it was a great experience because they got to have all my friends, and most of my friends come from Houston Performance Driving, again, because the relationships that have been formed over the years. But at the same time, it was good just to get out of the house. It was good to see all those old faces. It was good to see some new faces. It was good to, get out, and it wasn't that hot. It was a little bit warm, but, it wasn't unbearable. But, again, we got to eat together and catch up and see how everybody was doing. And we got to see a lot of nice cars, and, just that experience that, the people coming and going and seeing, again, newer cars that maybe have heard about HPD and, they wanted to come out and experience it. But then, of course, you get into that Twin Peaks is particularly large, just like the largest Twin Peaks in Houston. And it has a deck that peninsulas out into the parking lot. So you can stand on that elevated deck and look out over that parking lot. And it's just like, it's the best, other than looking at Twin Peaks girls, it's the best thing you can look at.
So, I knew he was going to get there.
so Troy stands on the deck and looks out over his minions.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, let me remind everybody of this. Troy is now of the age that those girls could be his daughter.
Oh,
had to go there.
Yeah. I don't feel 43.
You don't act 43 either.
No, not at all.
But the cool thing about HPD, and I've been a member since, well, not a member because there's no membership involved, but I've been involved with them since 2006, and I've made some real good friends through even today that I still consider to be very good friends. It's not just about
Do
the
they
cars.
consider you friends?
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Well, I think they do, because Conrad was our go-to person for a long time, because when we met Conrad, he was a field engineer for GM, and we were heavily GM populated.
Oh, yeah.
And I still remember Conrad's call sign or username on the forum, which was Jim Engine Ear. And it is because that he had the ear for the engines, and people, once that word got out, we have a GM field engineer on the forum. And I'm sure Conrad probably got bombarded with a lot of questions at that time.
Well, he's still getting bombarded.
Yeah, and I still remember getting a few things fixed over time. The funniest thing was Jack Salvaggio's the gray the silver Corvette he had. So he was having a problem with it, and I told him to bring it to a certain Chevy dealership here in town, and he rolls it in, and he's got these two, 50-pound nitrous tanks in the back window. It looked like it was scuba tanks sitting in the back.
Yeah.
And I mean, heavily modified car, and it was a problem that didn't have anything to do with the modifications, but most dealerships would have told them to bring it somewhere else.
So on Facebook, it's Houston Performance Driving, and you can get all the information there.
Yes, sir. So we have our group page. So that's the group page that says Houston Performance Driving bracket HPD, this logo. And that allows our membership and our members and new people and our sponsors, or if you're like looking for something kind of like you had asked earlier about, hey, I'm having this particular issue. Can anybody recommend a shop? And, everybody can kind of chime in and guide you in that direction and correspond between the member base.
Gotcha.
So you want to join that group page, and then you want to like our fan page. And then so once you like that fan page, that is how you're going to get the notifications of all of our events. And you'll get a notification, and you'll be able to get onto that event page then and correspond there and see the updates and see what's unfolding for our future events.
No surprise to you, but I want everything, okay?
And that's one of the great
You do, Don.
and that's one of the great things about HPD is they have a variety of cars and vehicles that are involved, because it's not just the modern muscle of the 911s, the Corvettes, the Supras and stuff. There's classic cars that show up to these. There's a bunch of bikes, there's a bunch of trucks, a bunch of Jeeps. It's just everybody that's got an automotive enthusiast heart can get involved with stuff that's going on at HPD.
Troy, thanks so much for joining us today. It's great to talk to you. Great to see you. And
Yes,
hopefully I will see you when I get the clutch fixed in July.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you.
All right, man. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Troy Dixon with Houston Performance Driving. A review of the all-electric Chevy Bolt is coming up next on the In Wheel Time Car Show after this quick break.
Get excited, race fans. NASCAR is coming to Houston Motorsports Park, and they're ready to kick off Houston racing with the NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series. The fun begins this Saturday, June 20th, when the Texas Short Track Racers return. Be there for a great night of racing and $1 beer and dollar sodas. NASCAR racing in Houston begins this Saturday. Visit NASCARHouston.com for details. Pre-purchase tickets at racedayprepay.com. That's racedayprepay.com. On social media, look for the hashtag NASCAR Houston.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hey, thank you for joining us for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. We usually have a couple of cars in our new car showroom. We do one each hour of our 2-hour show. In this hour, I get to talk about the 2020 Chevrolet Bolt. Not the Volt, but the Bolt. They don't make the Volt anymore.
Oh, that's right.
And the Volt was a dual mode hybrid. The Bolt is a pure EV.
Yeah.
Plug it in and drive. There's nowhere to put gasoline in it.
No, there's nowhere to put gasoline in it.
Did you have range anxiety, Don?
Oh, my God. Every time I get one of these, I always have range anxiety, and I shouldn't, but I do.
But you never had a problem until you had the one that wouldn't charge.
It wouldn't charge. It would not charge. Anyway, so let's forget all about that. This is a new day. It's a new car. The 2020 Chevy Bolt comes in 2 trim levels, starts with the LT, and then goes to the Premier. I had the Premier. It's called the EV Premier. What class, what size? It's considered by the government as a small station wagon. In our mind, it's got a small SUV tag on it. Seats up to 5 passengers. It was all new in 2017. I didn't realize that it's almost 4 years old now. Exterior features, a door stopper front end on it. In other words, the windshield is at the same angle as the what? Oh, they're making it. Okay, it's the same angle as the hood. Attractive, but again, the windshield and the hood at the same angle. Front grills have contrasting dark and light colors to give the appearance of an open grill. Very clever paintwork on the front of it. Nice front fascia, long wheelbase, and very short overhangs. I don't know what we're watching here. What are we watching?
It's the video from Chevrolet.
They're making it.
They're making it. Okay. Well, at any rate, what I liked about it, overall attractive look. What could use improvement? I don't know. I have no clue.
Well, more range in the batteries, but that's the tight
the technology.
Yeah,
thing
the technology
for the
on
whole
that's
segment.
going to
So
have to
we're
happen.
looking at the car being made. Love that. Interior highlights. It has a white dash accent panel that was way too much for me.
Too bright, too reflective?
No,
Too weird.
Well, as one person said, it looks like somebody's kitchen in here.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
With white appliances?
Yeah, just very
It was very
stark.
different. It was different.
It could have been Harvest Gold or Avocado Green, like some of the other kitchens I've seen.
Well, I used to have both of those, as a matter of fact, at one time. It did have nice fabric, leather surfaces, a large touch screen in the middle of it, lots of room for its size. What I liked about it, the hatch opening, big enough to swallow a steamer trunk.
And were you comfortable in the car? Because you're a tall guy.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
Yeah, it
considering
was.
this is considered a subcompact.
It is, but it actually had room in the back seat. I don't understand how they did all that, but whatever. What could use improvement? I felt that GM Chevy could have improved some of the plastic parts, the quality of the plastic parts, but I could find that with almost any car that's made today.
Right.
Drivetrain, well, it's got one single electric motor that basically turns out 200 horsepower in our world. That's not the way they really measure it.
No,
266 pound-feet of torque. It doesn't have a transmission.
No.
And what it has is an electric motor, and it zooms up to whatever speed you want it to.
All the torque's at the hit of the throttle.
So here is the miles per gallon rating. Sitting down, miles per gallon city, 127 miles per gallon city. E.
How do they measure that per gallon E?
Highway 108 mpg E for a combined of 118 E. Well, it doesn't show up that way on the dashboard. I got 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour.
Okay.
Now, I have a daughter that could go, oh, well, that is, 126 miles
And
per
she
gallon.
doesn't need a calculator.
No.
That just happens in her head.
So that was over 301.9 miles, just saying.
But it went 300 miles with you.
Constantly worried and constantly plugged in.
But did you have to?
Yes, I would have had to at least for a day or two, an overnight or two.
Well,
but
I
I did
could
it
see-
every night.
I could see overnight, but they're supposed to go well past 200 miles on a full charge.
So here's the odd thing. Here's the very odd thing. So when you plug it in on the dashboard instrument cluster, it says, okay, you want a full charge? Well, fine. It's going to take you 2 days and 7 minutes.
Okay. So it gives you an estimate.
But I had it plugged into 110.
Right.
That's not the way a typical owner would do it.
Right.
They would have I think it's
220.
240, I think
240.
it is. 240 volt amplifier.
And then some
Put
places
in the
have a
house.
440 charger.
That's at the grocery store.
Right. Well, at the dealerships as well.
Yeah.
They have charge
So,
stations.
whatever.
Well, one of the things you mentioned that you didn't realize that the Bolt was being sold since 2017. It was being sold regionally back then, so it was sold generally in those markets of New York, San Francisco, L.A.
There's a high concentration.
Washington.
I mean,
Well, all city driving stuff.
exactly. Texas is not real good for that kind of driving.
Okay, so new this year, they've increased the battery capacity to a 259-mile
Right,
range.
right.
Okay, so that's per charge if you feathered it going 259 miles away.
Really-
You stomp the accelerator pedal, which we call the accelerator pedal. If you stomp it a lot, no, it's not going to go 259 miles.
Yeah, or you're out there cruising the highway at 80 miles an hour.
What could use improvement? Range anxiety. EPA estimates Bolt charge time at 10 hours at 240 volts. So if you have no charge on it, you have to plug it in to 240 volts for 10 hours. Okay, what I liked about it, great to commute with.
Oh, absolutely.
You go back and forth from Sugar Land to downtown Houston.
Cost you nothing.
35 miles. It will cost you. But you can
Electricity.
get on an electricity plan that you can set the timer on the car to take the electricity from your house when you don't get charged for electricity in the overnight period. There are
Okay,
those
well, that makes
electric
sense.
companies out there.
If you understand how to play the
plan,
game.
yeah.
Okay, here's the downer. Base trim price $41,000. Prices tested $43,735. Base model price $36,620. Tesla 3 $37,990. Hyundai Kona EV $37,190. Kia Niro EV $39,761. But I can go right down to the corner gas station and buy gasoline for my 25 to 35 mile per gallon car at $2 or less a gallon. So you have to do the math. Is that what you really want?
Well, then you have to take in considerations, are you worried about the environment? You're worried about a lot of other things on the surface, because then if you really get into it, what did it cost to build that battery?
Let's not get into it.
Well, there's an emotional reason for some people to buy a pure EV.
Sure.
And manufacturers have to feed all of those different emotions. Somebody who drives a pure EV is not going to want a C8 Corvette when they release the Z06 version of it. I do. I'd rather have the Corvette than the EV, but again,
That's me, yeah.
all the different manufacturers have to meet all of those different needs for different customers.
Exactly.
And
Okay, have we stretched this out far enough now?
hopefully.
Okay, because we need to take a break. We got more of the In Wheel Time show coming right up after this.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so we should all stay home to lower the risk for everyone. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
So I've had a terrible faux pas, and the pages that I go by as to what is coming up next on the show were attached to the car review, and I couldn't find them, and it's all my fault.
Just tell me what you need, Don. I'm here to take care of you, bud.
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know for sure.
Anything.
No, just to
Anything
torture
for
you, I'm going to let you know. There's that.
Somebody help me.
So I think it's time for us to do the events calendar, but I did want to remind everybody that the In Wheel Time car show streams on facebook.com/InWheelTime, on YouTube, and on InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcast, and what we do is we break up the show, so the show is in 30
Steak Burgers Cruisin' in Magnolia. At 10 p.m. in Baytown at Cars and Vapor at Vapor 3. Tomorrow is the Father's Day car show out at Traders Village. There's another Father's Day car show in the Woodlands at Grace Woodlands Church, and that starts at 8 a.m., and that's at 24400 North Freeway. Also tomorrow is at 12 p.m. is the Classics at the Courthouse in Anderson, Texas. And then finally, Sunday night at Freddy's on 1960 in Eldridge is another meeting.
There's plenty to do.
All around the city.
And I guess what the point that we're trying to make on today's show is the fact, things to do, is that you, in your area, you can always Google search car events in your area. Car events close to me.
Right. And then as well as Nifty 50s, I believe, is on tonight, depending on weather. You know, all of these depend on weather. I know Nifty 50s is gone every other weekend, so they were on the 6th. So they should be on the 20th.
And let me also just say that there are car clubs that, whether or not,
whether or not,
yeah,
how
whether or
how
not,
punny.
you know, they take the family car and they go to a steak burger place or a hamburger or a barbecue place and meet up just as friends. So
Correct,
there's
correct.
always that. All right. Hey, calling all car, truck, and Jeep clubs. We'd love to feature your bunch in the Car Club Spotlight. Just shoot us an email to info@inwheeltime.com. Please include your contact information. We'll get your bunch on our show. In Wheel Time continues after this snappy